Hi, everybody. Ross the Boss here. We're live from La La, California. It's trade deadline day. We have 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be the deadline. We're hours away, Casey Scheinfeld. Let me welcome my co-host, Flat to the Bone, Casey Scheinfeld. He's here. He's coming live to you back east. Casey, how do you feel?
I'm excited. I love the trade deadline. There's actually some trades going, so it hasn't been quiet, which it has been in years previous. I mean, not huge names traded, but still some fun stuff to watch.
Let's talk about it. You're teasing us with these trades. I mean, I'm Casey. Tell me what's going on in Major League Baseball. Casey Scheinfeld.
Well, most recently it was, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're good. Keep going.
Oh, okay. I mean, the most recent trade that was announced was the Orioles trading for Trevor Rogers from the Marlins. And they traded somebody we've talked a lot on this show about as a prospect, and that's Connor Norby, the second baseman from the Orioles, is going to the Marlins, where I assume he'll be on the major league roster. They're not even going to bother to put him down in the minors. So that's good for a
No,
player like
I
Norby.
heard
We knew the
I heard there's
Orioles.
rioting going on in Baltimore because of that trade.
Well,
People
we knew the
like
Orioles
Norby.
had a stopgap. They had a ton of prospects, and they needed to make some trades. I was hoping they would have aimed a little higher for a Flaherty or a Crochet or somebody, but Trevor Rogers had a great rookie season in 2021 with his strikeouts. Pretty underwhelming since, but we'll see if it works out for him.
Marlins just getting rid of anybody who will take anybody. They'll get rid of. Josh Bell going to the Diamondbacks for insurance policy because Christian Walker, their all-star first baseman, has been put on the IL because a stomach oblique problem he got last night swinging the baseball. So now
Yep.
they got Josh Bell, who has been on fire lately in Miami. Casey, what do you think about that deal?
Well, I mean that from what I mean, I'm no baseball player and I'm certainly no power hitter, but everybody says that Arizona is one of the best parks for hitters in terms of the batter's eye and the ability to hit home runs. So he could, if he stays hot. I mean, we've seen what he did the first half of the year in Pittsburgh several years ago, where he had almost 34 home runs at the All-Star break or something ridiculous like that. So, I mean, you're near the end of the season. You need guys who are going to put up stuff in a flurry, and Bell is one of those possibilities.
Casey, I don't want to talk about all the trades because who cares about like Lucas Sims going to Boston? It doesn't.
Sure.
It's horrible. What other big names were traded that you think will affect
Uh, well, I know
the Texas
Soler going
Texas
back
teams?
to
I missed
the
something.
Braves is interesting because he was part of their World Series
Braves,
winning team
yeah.
and part of that big trade they did a couple years back.
World Series
And he
MVP,
put
I
up some
believe,
big
right?
numbers in a hurry when
Case
he got there.
World Series
What? What'd you
MVP.
say?
Am I right? Was he World Series
He might have
MVP
been,
for the
yeah.
Braves? I think he
And
was.
so I think they're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle there again. You say Kikuchi to the Astros could be interesting. Kikuchi was arguably the uh, Blue Jays' best pitcher all year long or most consistent pitcher. And so the Astros get a little bit deeper there for their run against the Mariners to see who can win that division. So those are two of the ones I look at and I think,
It's
okay,
good pickup. I like Lane Thomas going to the Guardians. I know that Central Division's bad, but the Guardians are playing good baseball. I think getting another bat in that lineup is going to help them a lot. Um, they need some starting pitching help on that team, but still, I think they're on the right path. But they actually made some moves, which is very impressive for the Guardians. The Dodgers got Kobach from the White Sox. Anything to you? Not.
I mean,
I mean, he's been getting destroyed as a closer, but maybe he'll turn around. Maybe the Dodgers will start him. I don't know. I mean, it's just
yeah,
the Dodgers. I think kind of failed,
he's a power arm in the bullpen that can't hurt.
not getting anybody worth anything. Yeah, but everybody throws 98, 99 miles an hour now. There's nobody else. And then Mark Leiter Jr. went to the Yankees to help their bullpen, which I think a move. Your White Sox, Casey. I know you're a big White Sox guy. 15 straight losses, Casey Scheinfeld.
Yeah, they're
Not not
rocking the boat right
not
now.
good.
They're
Not good, Casey Scheinfeld. I guess there's a fire sale there. I'm surprised Luis Robert or Robert, any way you want to say it. He's not been dealt. They're waiting for the right deal. I don't think anybody's really stepped up to get the All Star, but as you know, I think the guy's great. I mean, I think the guy can steal and hit home runs, but no one really stepped to offer them the right package. So I think he's
yeah.
staying, unless something happens in the next couple hours. We'll see what happens. Um, I'm just thinking what else is going on. You're One more Yankee news for you. Then we'll start about waiver wire. Derek Cole, even though he was on the DL for weeks, close to months, didn't pitch, didn't do anything. He has body fatigue because the 5-day rest is not long enough. So he's not pitching tonight for your Yankees against the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Phillies. So Aaron Nola's going against some minor leaguer. I don't even know who it is, but maybe you do. I don't have the name in front of me. But it's just odd that body fatigue.
Well,
I mean,
I,
how many
I
starts has
equate
this
it.
guy had?
I equate it to spring training when you see pitchers a few weeks into getting ramped up, get a little tired and need some rest to be built up. I'm hoping that's all it is, that it's a week long or 2 week thing. And he's rocking and rolling. Look, they're going to make the playoffs. So they're not worried about the playoffs right now. They want to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs. And if it means skipping an outing here or there for him in the next 2 months, I don't think they'll hesitate to do it.
You have a point. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, but I just think, these pitchers are like so baby innings pitched, and oh my God, they pitched over 100 pitches. Let's take them out. It's like, no, keep them in. They can pitch over 100 pitches. It's not a big deal. Bob Gibson did it almost every start. I mean,
Yeah.
let these guys pitch. Their arms are not going to fall off. They've been pitching their whole lives. They can pitch 30, 40 more pitches. It's not a big deal. But again, I mean, it's part of baseball, and I get it, and it affects the game. That's why your bullpen's so important now. Casey, any other trades that affects? We know what I else noticed. I noticed that how we usually get like the closers from a bad team going to a contender happens. I didn't really see that this year. It's not over yet, but I
Yeah, we
didn't
still
really
got a couple
see.
hours left, but I mean, you look at the teams that are out of it, none of
Yeah,
them really
but
have a
I didn't
closer.
see the closers going. I did
I'm
see it happened a few days ago, and we actually had him on our show. As Carlos Estevez of the Angels was traded, he, he's gone. I forgot where he went.
Did he go
Uh,
to Philadelphia?
I think you're right. And so Carlos Estevez of the Angels, who was their primary closer, he's now, I believe, at Philly. I think you're right. So I mean, that's the only one that I saw. But and I mentioned Lucas Sims of the Reds, but he wasn't a closer. He was more of a setup guy. But he was awful. I would drive him to the airport.
Well, Jason Adam being traded
He was
to
traded because
San Diego helps their bullpen, but he's not going to close. I don't think. I
no, they
mean,
have
I guess he could.
no. Shores is their closer. He's been doing okay.
Um, yeah, they
I
got
assume
it
he's gonna
was
get
the
their split.
Phillies.
But yeah, I said you. Yeah, I gave you.
I'm surprised
I
Aroldis
gave you the
Chapman
closers.
isn't traded. I thought I'd see him go. I mean, there's an hour and a half left, so we'll see what happens. But
Yeah, I
um,
mean Chapman's always gets traded. He always gets traded today. It's like Chapman Day, we should call it, because every trade deadline Chapman goes somewhere where wherever he's pitching he's not there. I'm sure he has his bags packed ready to go. Um, I'm surprised there's not more of those closers like Chapman that are going to another place to pitch tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a few hours left, and I think as some teams need to improve. You know, I think we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see some surprises. But let's talk waiver wire, Casey Scheinfold. We're the season's almost done.
yep.
In all seriousness, waiver wire, unless you have major injuries or your player gets in a huge slump, that's the only reason why I think you should pick up a waiver wire. There's nobody really like coming at you saying, pick me up, pick me up. I mean, I have to start with our cover guy, Tyler Fitzgerald of the Giants. Read his stats, Casey. Tell me his stat line so far for the
Well,
year. I mean,
I'll tell
this
you his
guy's on
stat lines,
fire.
but I'm also going to tell you that he's like 72% owned
Yeah, I
now.
know. I noticed that, but I had to
But
talk to him about it anyway, just because he is available in
yeah,
20, 28% of the leagues.
last 2 weeks, batting over 400 with 7 home runs. So
Yeah.
um, he's been pretty incredible.
And,
Of
and this
all
is the guy that I
players,
couldn't pick out of a police lineup. I mean, I could not pick this guy out of a police lineup. You know what I mean? I mean, he's
I mean, he's number 3 overall in fantasy, behind only Bobby Witt Jr. and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So that's pretty elite company he's keeping himself in right now.
yeah. I mean, another guy that is under 60 that pitches for the Marlins, I think, will now be a starter every 4 or 5 games is Max Meyer. I know they brought him down to the minors during the season. Now he's back up, but that guy is. I saw him pitch, Casey. He's explosive. I mean, he throws heat, but he also has great breaking stuff. I mean, this guy's the real deal. I mean, I
Yeah.
like this kid. I wouldn't mind having him on my team if that makes sense, even though he plays for a horrible team. Uh,
Uncle Ted is here to do his humble brag.
he wins, but they'll
Here's a stat. First place, baby. Good for you, Uncle Ted. Way to be. He said he can't hear you, Ross. You black out. You kind of go quiet every now and then, but I make out what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
good. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say on the pitching side, I like Kyle Harrison. He's been pitching great the last couple of weeks.
Kyle Harris.
From San Francisco. He was a top prospect a couple years ago, struggled a little with injuries and stuff last year. Like I said, Aroldis Chapman, I really like if you can get him, because I do think he's either going to be a closer the rest of the season or get traded, and maybe he'll get some good numbers where he gets traded to. On the hitting side, Colton Cowser's back. The cow, moo, whatever you want to say. Last 2 weeks, 375, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. Remember, he was super hot the start of the year. So he's proven he can stay hot for stretches of time. That might be somebody to nab going into your last couple weeks. And then we talked about him last week, Xavier Edwards, still batting over 400 for the last 2 weeks with 5 stolen bases, the shortstop second baseman from Miami.
Home run last night. Yeah.
Good for him. He's proven he can stick around.
Yeah, and also I talked about the A's last week. I'll bring it up again. Rooker's on fire. I'm surprised he's not been traded, just because the team that needs a hitter. Oakland has said we'll trade anybody. They don't care. Lawrence Butler, I think is legit. I love him.
Yeah, he's at 80. He's over 80% now.
Yeah, I know, but I just said he's legit. But another guy who's under 60% is Max Schulman. KC Scheinfeld in July. He's hitting 375, 3 home runs, 19 runs scored, and 11 RBIs and 5 stolen bases for the month of July.
Yeah, and he qualifies at second, short, and outfield, which are a couple of pretty weak positions.
So if you need like a utility guy like that, and you want somebody on your bench just in case if one of your guys goes down, it's not a bad idea. I mean, I would even.
No, I mean the waiver wire is not huge right now.
No, Xavier Edwards, I liked. Colin Ray of Milwaukee, KC, he's been pitching really well. He's passed 2 starts. He's allowed 2 earned runs and 15 Ks. I mentioned Max Meyer. I like him. Simon Woods Richardson. Don't you think he would drop one of your last names? Is, I don't know, whatever. But if he pitches for the Twins case, and I know his ERA is not. He has an ERA of 3.24. Which is okay in his past starts, but he has 30 strikeouts in 33 innings. I mean, I know it's not great, but it's not bad. And it's so hard to find good starting pitching right now. I have him on my list just because I can't find any great starters under 60%. I mean, do you want to sign Patrick Corbin? No.
Never.
I mean, never. I mean, Patrick Corbin today.
I wanted him 6 years ago for 1 season only.
So we call it, Patrick Corbin, when he pitches, he's been pitching okay lately, but I mean, today I think he's going to get rocked. He's playing Arizona in Arizona. Arizona hits the ball really well at home. So you know where I'm going, but I really like him. I think he's, not Patrick Corbin, but I like Simon Woods Richardson. Closer wise case, because Mason Miller decided to break his finger on a desk.
Yeah.
On the wall.
I have no idea.
Closer for Oakland. And again, I mean, Lucas Craig, I think I said that right, Case. He's the closer now.
Is that who's going to be doing it?
Yeah, he's going to be the closer. I mean, he's
because Tyler Ferguson's been pretty good too.
He saves on the year and 12 holds.
Tyler Ferguson has 2 saves in the last 2 weeks. So
there you go. Well, if you want Oakland, let's go Oakland. Another closer, because Estevez is gone, who throws heat. I saw this guy pitch last week. He was unbelievable. And Ben Joyce of the Angels, KC.
Oh, yeah? Well, that guy throws smoke.
Throwing ERA 2.3 over 19 innings pitched. Walks are the issue. He's not a control guy. He can't control the ball. That's why he's not being talked about that much. But his K rate, Case, almost 30%. So if you're batting, every third guy who's up is going to strike out. I mean, he's that good. So Ben Joyce, if you need a closer, it's not a bad idea. Um, just because if you look at the closing who's available, there's not many names. Casey,
Right.
it's not helpful. But again, Uncle Ted, he's in first place. He's playing unbelievable. He's making all the right moves, all the right time. And that's the thing about fantasy baseball. It's making the right moves at the right time. I mean, whoever gets hot, whatever hitters are starting to hit, and if they're on your team, you're going to start making movement, especially in the standings. So that's why it's important to keep track every day of your lineup and your roster. And if you have a player that's hitting well, start him. Maybe you should bring somebody else up, or maybe you should somebody on your roster replace him with.
Absolutely.
Okay, Case. Anybody else on the waiver wire that you're aiming at,
No,
or
this time of the year, I'm not paying
yeah,
much. I'm
I
now, if I'm
agree.
in a dynasty league or a keeper league that allows you to keep minors, I might look for some players. But uh, not particularly. No, I mean,
I mean, I love that's on fire. I don't know if he's available in your league, but you can look. He was available in a couple leagues. I picked him up early in the week. This guy, ever since the All Star Casey Scheinfeld, this guy's been on fire. He's Jeff McNeil of the Mets. The Mets
yeah,
are
he's
hitting
been,
great as a team. First of all,
yeah,
this guy's hitting 17, slugging percentage of 1,000. I mean, this guy has just been on fire. And again, I mean, he had a big night last night. I mean, it's just like every night, Jeff McNeil of the Mets, Jeff McNeil of the Mets. So if you need somebody that plays second base and outfield, and if he's available in your league, I don't know if he is, but he could be. This is when you pick him up today.
yeah.
So Uncle Ted, pick him up immediately. I doubt he's available. I just said that so he'll look. But I mean, somebody like that, that's what you need to keep track of those players that are just out of the All Star break on fire. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's so important to keep track of that stuff, because we got a whole. If you're in a rotisserie league, we got 2 more months to go. I mean, there's a lot more baseball left. I know football starting up, Casey. I know they're in camp right now. I know we got the Olympics going on, Casey Sheinfeld. I know you're big on the Olympics.
I love
You're
watching the
probably
Olympics. I'm
you're
excited for
probably
breakdancing, but that's not for another 2 weeks.
I know you are an expert when it comes to fencing and water polo, and we don't have shows for that right now, but maybe we'll do a fencing show so you can talk
I
about
think
all
we'll
the
get,
knowledge you know.
if we do water polo, I bet Flavor Flav would come on.
If we can get Flavor Flav, we can get, I like the country of Hungary to win the water polo.
Okay.
That's why I put them in
Okay.
my pool. But I mean, the Olympics, teaser real quick. The U.S. girls did really well today. I'm not going to say what
Yeah, the
happened
women always do well.
because I know the prime time people will watch it prime time, not knowing the winner. But the women did great. The men's got bronze last night, which
Yeah,
was
that was
exciting to
exciting. Did you
watch. I
watch the
like
kid who
those
did the Palmer
guys.
horse?
I love that kid, Steven. I love the look. I love the glasses. I love how
Yeah.
he takes off the glasses. He can't see. I just love the whole thing. And he's somebody that would sit in your math class with you that you would cheat off. You know what I mean? You'll be like cheating
He
looking at
does
his
look like he's
paper.
smarter than you on top
I
of
mean, he
everything
looks,
else.
yeah, he looks like a very smart kid. He went to Penn State, where you're part of the country. He's a Nittany Lion, so he has some brains. But he's such like a, I don't want to say pretty, but that's the only word I can think of that describes him. But I did enjoy the whole thing because he was like he doesn't do any other event. He just does the horse and that's it. So he had to wait through 6 rotations and do the horse and be the last person.
He was the last person of the last event.
And if he didn't do well, they wouldn't get the bronze.
I know. That was pretty awesome.
I know. Imagine like sitting through this whole thing and then all of a sudden you're saying, okay, Steven, get up there. And if you don't do well, we don't get the bronze. So that's more pressure.
And and if you
And
watch
he's
it, you
like,
can see in the middle of
yeah,
his
yeah,
dismount, he knew he
yeah,
did it, and you just see this grin on his face as he's coming down to the ground. It's such a cool
yeah.
feeling. I hope I
It's great. I
experience
mean,
that one day.
I mean, and the team all picked him up and tossed him around. I mean, it was great to watch. And I know I've been watching the swimming too, and that's exciting. I like this kid who won in Romania, this Romanian kid who won the event by like a tenth of a second. They're having big parties right now in Romania because of him.
Yep.
He's like that big story, but it's a fun time to watch. I mean, I just think it's a really fun, great feeling that these guys representing their country, and I think the Olympics is something that I will watch when it's on instead of baseball, just because it's good. It's like you said, you feel good about yourself, and
But now we're starting to pay attention to
could have some
next
controversy. You feel
week.
good about it.
What do you think we should start talking about
Here we
next week?
go.
It's going to be August. What should we start talking about?
We're talking about football, NFL football. We got Casey Saturday. We got the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, coming for you from Canton, Ohio. Uh, the Eagles, I think, are playing too. You're where you're from, and it's like, I know you're a Giant fan, but I just had to say. But I want to talk football really bad. All I do is read about it at night, and I just can't wait to share my knowledge with everybody.
I'm excited to
Um,
start talking about our rankings and stuff next week.
yeah, and there have been huge. I mean, Jordan Love signed the biggest contract of ever. I mean, it's unbelievable for a guy that just played one season. They gave him all that money, but we'll talk about that later. But it's just amazing. Like every year, whoever has a contract that's open, they'll become the highest paid quarterback. It makes me laugh. And you know, with Patrick Mahomes, there's a reason why he's not like the highest paid. He could be the highest paid if he wanted to, but I think he took a chapter from Tom Brady's book.
Yeah, he's following Tom Brady's
And
blueprint for having sustained success. And look, he could three-peat this year. So I guess his plan is
Casey,
his
again,
pl-
the receivers they got this season, they got Hollywood Brown, who you love. You talked about him many times on our waiver
Yep, I'm a fan.
show. I know it. And they also got that kid from who broke the record in the 40. Forgot
Yeah,
his
is
name.
that Adonai? Is it
Got him.
Mitchell?
Um, no, not Mitchell, but they got him. I think he went to Texas Tech. But he
Xavier
the
Worthy.
receivers they Xavier Worthy. That guy's awesome. So the receivers they have, and they have like last year, I thought the receivers were not that good. They got horrible.
Yeah,
Scantling can't catch anything. I mean, they had
MVS.
horrible receivers.
Yeah,
Horrible.
Rasheed Rice caught on at the end, but now he's going to
Yeah,
be
but
missing games. You're sure of
he's gonna
that.
be in jail. I mean,
Kadarius Toney was terrible.
he's
So
playing running back in
so
summer camp. He's playing running back. That's how bad he is. They don't even playing receiver anymore. He dropped. He's like he'll be cut. Don't worry. But we'll talk football. You see, I'm so excited about it. But anything else you want to add about baseball? We have about deadline. We have about over 4 hours left. No,
we have an hour and 37 minutes left in the
Yeah.
trade deadline. I'm just hoping there's some big trades. I think we're at the point of fantasy baseball where um, you kind of know where you stand, and you're trying to gain small advantages in different categories. So if you're looking at the waivers, be very category specific. Don't just go with who's hot, because if they can't help you in the category you need, it doesn't matter. So that's my advice on the waiver wire for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully you made the playoffs if it's in a head-to-head league, or you're going to finish in the top 3 in a rotisserie league, but go get them.
Go get them. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Casey Vlad Tidbone Scheinfeld. We'll see you guys Thursday, 1:00 Pacific, 4:00 Eastern. We'll talk a little football. We'll talk a little baseball, and we'll talk a little Olympics. How about that?
I like it. Hopefully Dr. Dan's joining us to help.
Hopefully. I mean, who knows what he's doing. I mean, who knows? I mean, he's curing cancer, that Dr. Dan Radner. We love him. He's out there working. But we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll start football next week. We'll talk ratings and quarterback. We'll talk about top 10 who you should take in your draft, who you should not take in your draft, what teams to stay away from, what teams to hop on. Casey, I want to announce my Super Bowl pick. Can I do that? Then we'll go really quick.
All right. Who is it? Detroit Lions.
I am taking, and Jared Goff is MVP. How about that? How
There
about
you
that
go.
prediction, Casey Scheinfeld?
I like
So
it.
I'm taking. I'm going to with that the whole season. I think the Lions with their running game, Gibbs, and with their receivers, um, I don't. They'll be 12, 13 games, and then I think they'll be doing pretty well in the playoffs. So that's my prediction.
All right. Take it to the bank. All right, everybody. We will see you on Thursday.